Yo, yo, yo. What's up, everybody? Yeah. Welcome to the Mike Dolce Show. Today, we're talking about MMA. Some backstage MMA gossip, baby. What would professional fighting be if it wasn't for Twitter beef, right? So let's break down the Twitter beef right now as we ease into the evening here. So, perennial UFC GOAT, John Bones Jones. His name has been thrown around in the GOAT conversation for a decade now, legitimately. And I'm going to tell you here in a minute who I think the true GOAT of MMA is. So just hang with me for a few more minutes. Now, after Habib Nurmagomedov, after Habib beat Justin Gaethje for the UFC lightweight world title, many people said, hey, Habib should be considered in the GOAT conversation. The UFC then went and awarded Habib the GOAT status, the greatest of all time, the number one pound for pound fighter in the UFC. Well, that is controversial, not because Habib is not an amazing lightweight, simply because there are some other amazing champions, past and present, in the UFC. One of which is still active UFC fighter John Bones Jones, who many regard as the number one pound for pound fighter in the world and possibly the all-time GOAT of MMA. I certainly want to hear who you think the GOAT of MMA is. So make sure you leave comments below. Bang, bang. Also, make sure you give this video a thumbs up as I break down the drama here in a moment. Now, Daniel Cormier did an interview this week regarding the GOAT conversation. Now, mind you, Daniel Cormier, former UFC light heavyweight world champion, former UFC heavyweight world champion, also Daniel Cormier, who owns 2 losses versus John Jones, fought John Jones twice in one of the most heated rivalries in all of MMA, and unfortunately for Daniel, lost to John both times. Now, Daniel was also a teammate of Habib at American Kickboxing Academy and the team captain. So you could say Daniel has a bias against John and also for Habib. Now, Daniel had said in this interview that he feels Habib is the GOAT. That's not controversial. You would expect that. But what this whole beef started was then Daniel said John Jones should not even be a part of the conversation because he tested positive for performance-enhancing drugs earlier in his career. And that's when all of this stuff got a little crazy because John Jones took it personally. And in John taking it personally, John then put out a tweet to Daniel. And let me read the tweet here. So after the article came out and the news came out, the story broke. And of course, all the journalists, they ran with the story of DC says John shouldn't even be considered a part of the conversation. And John put out the tweet that said, DC, you lost your last fight and then quit the sport. Emoji, crying, laughing face. Talk about being eliminated from the conversation. Sarcastic emoji face. Well, of course, Daniel then responds with, dummy, after I lost to you, while you were on PEDs, mind you, I won back the 205-pound title, then won the heavyweight title, then back surgery, then Stipe beat me twice. Sure, sounds like quitting, huh? I'm 41 years old. Let's see what you're doing at 41. You loser. Cannot wait. John comes back, and I'll just give this to you guys because I'm sitting here, I'm reading it right now. John comes back and says, is that any way to talk to your superior, Daniel? Laughing, crying face. By the time I'm 40, remember Daniel's 41, I'll be 5 years into my retirement. That's what happens when you win the big ones. Who knows? Maybe you'll be the best high school coach who ever lived, pulling for you, buddy. And then John goes on to say a couple more, fat jokes and so on and so forth. So the Twitter beef, of course, that's probably the only beef we'll see, or the only fight we'll see between John and Daniel Cormier, both great fighters in their own right. We do have to say, in head-to-head competition, John Jones is better because he beat Daniel twice, and he beat him rather soundly, actually, especially, I believe it was the second fight, rather soundly. I believe he finished DC, which is a tough one, I'm sure, for DC to handle. Now, DC is a 2-division world champion. Nothing wrong with that. Daniel Cormier is very successful. He's got a great career behind him. He's going to be in the UFC Hall of Fame. He's a commentator. He's got a lot of good stuff. But it appears to me that Daniel cannot let the specter of John Jones out of his mind, right? John Jones is living in Daniel Cormier's head, and I get that. They are bitter rivals. They fought twice. Daniel was not able to beat John. Had Daniel beat John Jones, Daniel would then be in the GOAT conversation. Daniel went on to fight Stipe Miocic twice, and Stipe beat Daniel twice also. So Daniel, unfortunately, and now I'm giving some op-ed here. Daniel Cormier, one of the greatest fighters in history, right? To be fair, one of the few UFC champions to ever hold a belt in 2 divisions. But when Daniel went up against the greatest in his division, that being John Jones, the greatest light heavyweight of all time, Daniel couldn't beat him twice. He had 2 chances and couldn't beat him. When Daniel went up against Stipe Miocic, the greatest UFC heavyweight champion of all time, Daniel lost twice to Miocic. And that, unfortunately, will be a part of Daniel's legacy. And this isn't kind of bashing Daniel. I actually really do like Cormier, but I think it's important to share something here, that Daniel Cormier beat Anthony Johnson. Was that Anthony Johnson for the world title? And then he went on and beat Volkan Ozdemir to defend his light heavyweight world title. He moved up to heavyweight. That's right. I think I might be off here. Moved up to heavyweight. I'm sorry. I'm actually, because this is wrong here, the way this has it listed. I'm looking at the Sherdog record. So Daniel holds 1 win over Stipe Miocic in 2018. Then Stipe came back, beat Daniel, took the title, and then beat Daniel again in the rematch 1 year later. Now, Daniel defended the title versus Derek Lewis. And I mean, that's not a legitimate, no disrespect to Derek, cool guy, that's not a legitimate contender anyway. When you look at what John Jones has done, and I only say this because you look at the pedigree of whom they fought. Man, John Jones fought Dominic Reyes and won, Thiago Santos and won, Anthony Smith and won, Alexander Gustafsson and won, Daniel Cormier and won, Ovis St. Preux and won, Daniel Cormier again and won, Glover Teixeira and won, Gustafsson again and won, Chael Sonnen and won, Vitor Belfort and won, Rashad Evans and won, Lyoto Machida and won, Quentin Jackson and won, Mauricio Hua and won, Ryan Bader, Bellator champion and won, Vladimir Matyshenko, Brandon Vera, Matt Hamill. We go back. So let's see. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Daniel beat 8 world champions, some of them twice, right, during his reign. Now, I only say that to show, or not Daniel, John Jones. John Jones beat them. I only say that to show to everyone who challenges John Jones' GOAT status, there is no other athlete in the UFC that has the resume of John Jones. There's no other athlete who has the resume of John Bones Jones. So when we speak about the GOAT, you have to say John Jones is the greatest. Demetrius Johnson, who also is on the pound for pound list, he's in the GOAT conversation. Demetrius Johnson said John Jones is the GOAT. How can you not say John Jones is the GOAT? How can you also, ladies and gentlemen, how can you also bang, bang, not give this video a thumbs up? Come on, I got gym chalk on my hat. You should give this video a thumbs up simply because I'm sitting here with gym chalk on my hat. Come on now, my friends. But this conversation, so John and Daniel's beef, and they're going to have a beef. They're always going to beef. They're going to keep on beefing forever, right? These are the two guys who are going to beef forever simply because they don't like each other. They were great competitors against each other. They brought the best out of each other. John Jones got those wins, right? And John made the statement that, he'll basically be retired long before the age in which Daniel retired, simply because John was able to win the big fights when it mattered. I would say Daniel won the big fights also. He won the world title in 2 different divisions. So to be fair, Daniel deserves that respect. But at the same time, how can you say John Jones is not the greatest of all time? And I see some questions in here, and I want to answer your questions. Let's talk about this in the chat. So everyone here in the chat, let's talk about this. Who do you think is the greatest of all time? And I'm going to give you some examples of why I'm right. So you can put whatever you want to put, but if you don't agree with me, that's okay. You're allowed to be wrong. I'm not mad if you're wrong. So Colin Drury says, yo, Dolce, what's up, Colin? Sam C, evening, Mike. Any news on when we will get that video content from the DDC? I'm itching to go back through it. Sam C, let me talk to the team. I will let you know, brother. Hope all is well. Looking forward to that chat with you and the missus also, my friend. Boxing MMA. Hey, Mike, what's up, Boxing? Joe Zaire, if you call yourself the GOAT, you should be out of the conversation. If you get busted with steroids and assault a stripper, you're out. GSP is the GOAT. Now, you make a good point in saying George St. Pierre, because I will agree that George St. Pierre should be in the GOAT conversation. But I don't know that George St. Pierre can be considered the GOAT over John Jones. But to be fair, GSP has an amazing record. And what I had said was GSP has a great record. Mind you, GSP has 2 losses, one of which was a submission versus Matt Hughes, and the next was getting knocked out by Matt Serra. Now, GSP did come back 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. He did come back on a 13-fight win streak, GSP did, and he did win the UFC middleweight world title, making him also a 2-division world champion. But as I sit here right now, John Jones fought a higher level pedigree of opposition. Now, this is in my opinion, but also I'm looking at the metrics. I'm looking at the data right here. I wish I could screen share it with you. John Trigger, I'm going to give you a call, my man. As I'm looking through, he's got wins over, Nick Diaz. Nick Diaz is a fun fighter, but Nick Diaz is not a world beater. He's got wins over Jake Shields, a good fighter. But, Jake has not always been at his game, and that was a decision. He's got wins over, Josh Koscheck, Dan Hardy, and this is for the title reign. Thiago Alves, BJ Penn, John Fitch, Matt Harry, Sarah, he avenged. I got to say, tell me, I want to hear your opinion. If you look at the opposition side by side, does Josh Koscheck stack up to Quentin Rampage Jackson? Does Thiago Alves stack up to Vitor Belfort? Does Jake Shields stack up to Mauricio Shogun Hua? It's hard to say. It's hard to say. And I'm going to say no. I love GSP, but also don't forget there's been a specter of, well, I don't want to even get into that side of the conversation, so I'm not going to do it. Colin Dury says Jones is the GOAT. Amar Deep says DC is talking facts, though, Uncle Mike. Is Lance Armstrong considered the greatest cycler ever? Yes. Yes. Lance Armstrong won more Tour de France's, I believe, than any other cyclist, correct? Even though he was stripped at the end. And this is the thing. Everyone Lance competed against was on. Look at the list of athletes that, so let's see here. I mean, there's a whole list of athletes on both of their resumes. Right? So there's a whole list of athletes on both their resumes that were also on PEDs. And they competed also, both of them, during the time when USADA was not in effect. I don't think that matters. I don't think that matters, truly. The greatest of all time is the greatest of all time. And you'd be hard pressed to find any athlete who is not pushing the boundaries of what is legal. To be fair, not saying that they're doing things illegal. The whole John Jones, USADA, picograms thing, right? John never actually, he said in one of his tweets, he never actually got in trouble for having performance enhancing drugs in his system. They never found steroids in his system. They found picograms of a tainted supplement, I believe, in his system. All right. It's a metabolite of a picogram of something or the other. And I don't remember the whole deal on that. I'm not here to defend anybody for that bullshit. Joe says DC is a top 5 to 10 all time, but he's not the GOAT. I agree with that. Boxing MMA, I have GSP as the GOAT. The GOAT talk is harder to pick number one with Mighty Mouse, Henry, GSP, Jones, DC. I pick the GOAT when I look at, and here's the thing. You look at the way, and let's do this real quick here. Look at the way the athlete won. So let's talk about, I'll just briefly break down John Jones and the way he won his fights. All right, let's go back to Ryan Bader, submission. Shogun Hua, TKO. Quentin Jackson, submission. Machida, submission. Rashad Evans, decision. Vitor Belfort, submission. Chael Sonnen, TKO. Gustafsson, a decision. Glover, decision. DC, 1 decision. Ovis St. Preux, a decision. Then Gustafsson, the second fight, KO. Daniel Cormier was it a TKO or a submission? Anthony Smith, decision. Thiago Santos, decision. And Dominic Reyes, decision. He's got a lot of finishes, a lot of finishes. GSP has TKO, decision, submission, TKO, decision, TKO. But those two against BJ Penn, I don't think they count. BJ Penn was a 55-pounder, blown up 55. That's not fair. Decision. And then technical submission against Bisbang. And even the decision versus Johnny Hendricks, that was a split decision, and that was bullshit. We all know that Johnny Hendricks won that fight. No disrespect to George St. Pierre, but Johnny won that fight for sure. Colander, MR Deep, DC is talking. Answer that. Jay says DC is still in the USADA pool, though. I wonder if we're ever going to see some Anderson Silva garbage out of him. Father Time is the GOAT. Father Time is the GOAT, Joe. You're right, my man. Smash the like button. Boxing MMA says, smash that like button, my friends. Bang, bang, bang. Well, I don't say just bang. Give this video a thumbs up. I appreciate that, ladies and gentlemen. It lets me know you're there. Lets me know you care. It lets the YouTube overlords know that they should be sharing this video for us. I appreciate that. This is a late in the day video. I'm posting it right now. Joe says nobody really does it clean, but if Jones never got busted, he'd be the GOAT without any argument. I agree. Nick Gerasi says, Dolce, how do I talk to girls? I'm 19 with no confidence and don't feel like making an ass of myself. Nick, that's a great question, my man. The best way to talk to a girl is not to want anything out of her. Here's what you do. Start talking to girls in a non-creepy, consensual way, in a very friendly way. Do not try to get their phone number. Do not try to hook up with them. Do not try to impress them. Do not try to flirt with them. Just speak to them as if they are a human, worthy of respect, and they have their own independent mind, and they might just be willing to have a friendly conversation. Hey, how are you? Blue shoes, or what are you wearing? What are you looking at there? Hey, what do you know where this place is over here? Have you eaten at that place? I'm interested. What kind of coffee is that? Do you recommend that? It looks great. Thank you. And walk away. Keep it short and sweet, right? What are we doing? Now we're exercising. We're exercising our confidence. We're exercising self-control. And here's what I'm going to do. Guys, gals, everyone listening. Here's what you do. It's like this the broke ass salesman who's got his mortgage due the next day. Nobody wants to talk to that dude. No one's going to buy anything from that dude. So it's like the creepy, thirsty dude that's just trying to get laid. And this isn't you, Nick. I'm just saying, you want to start talking to girls. Here's what you do. You don't want their number in your mind. I don't want your number. I don't want to go out with you. I don't want to hook up with you. I don't want anything from you. Once you alleviate that, I don't want anything from you. Now you have nothing to lose. So then it's very easy to think, hey, how are you? Oh, yeah, you know, this and that, the other thing. Oh, man, you forgot your umbrella. I forgot mine. Rainy day, or I got my umbrella. Whatever crappy stuff you want to talk about. Fun stuff. Have like a 2 or 3 sentence, simple little introduction, salutation, hello, and then have a good day. Keep it moving. And that's the most important point, is your exit. Work on your entrance, work on your exit, and get out. Get in, get out. Get in, get out. What this will do, this will then get you more comfortable just talking to girls. Hot girls, fat girls, thin girls, like ugly girls, whatever girl, all girls, don't matter. Go talk to all the girls, talk to all the guys, talk to whomever, talk to everyone, talk to the older ladies. Don't talk to the young kids, because that's fucking creepy, right? Right? I always try and only speak to women your age or older, never younger than you. Just as a rule in life, gentlemen, a rule in life. Only speak to women older than yourself, never younger than yourself, because then you're fucking creepy. You get yourself in a lot of trouble. So this is Uncle Mike's dating advice here. Give yourself a month of this, Nick. A month. For 1 month, you will not hook up. Period. Get it out of your mind. You are not trying to get a phone number. You're not trying to make a date. You don't want to make a date. I don't want your phone number. Don't give it to me. I don't want it. I'm good. I'm cool. I don't need your phone number. Like, I'm cool right now. I'm just saying hi. Like, John, stop trying to give me your phone number. Like, have that mentality. Have that attitude, that don't give a fuck attitude. Be respectful. Be a gentleman. Be kind. Don't be one of these dickhead, dirtbag, scumbag, creepy, wannabe, like fake ass fucking players out there. Don't be one of those losers. They're losers. Trust your Uncle Mike over here. I'm older than you, most likely. I'm definitely older than you, Nick. All those fucking wannabe, sexy dudes are fucking losers by the time they hit 30. Fucking losers by the time they hit 30. Like losers by the time they get in their mid-20s, through their mid-20s, right? And they're all taking STD tests nonstop and usually failing some of those. Anyway, focus on your skills, focus on yourself, focus on your character, focus on your self-control, focus on your confidence. And guess what? The girls will start talking to you. The girls will want to talk to you. Women love a man who does not want them. They really do. Because they want a man who doesn't need anyone. And there's no sexism in this. Same thing with a woman. Guys love, no matter what you say, a strong, independent woman who does not need you. Now, male ego is very, very fragile here. So they'll pretend like they don't. But that's the woman they're thinking about when they have that meek little shy thing that does whatever he says sitting next to her. Right. That's unfortunate for everyone in this conversation. So I hope this is helpful for you, but give yourself a month and do not want anything. Do not expect anything. And just literally, hey, how are you? Simple, easy. Easy. I mean, start it up with the person behind the counter. Now, remember, the person behind the counter, they're supposed to be nice to you, right? Don't flirt with the girl behind the counter. They're supposed to be nice to you. If there's a little tip jar sitting on the counter, they're going to be extra nice to you. Be nice to them back. But don't expect anything. Don't want anything. Don't be creepy, dude. Don't be the creepy dude. Be very quick. Introduction and exit. Get in and get out of the conversation. Tell me how it goes. Scott Simpson, people say Nurmi, he can't be his strength of schedule and only. People say Nurmi, oh, he can't be. No, yeah, he's not. The greatest lightweight of all time? Sure. I think Habib would have destroyed BJ Penn. If they fought, BJ was the lightweight GOAT. I think Habib would have destroyed him in every error. He's just wrestling is just too dang dominant. Jeff says, whey isolate okay post-workout rather than intra. Absolutely, that's fine. Scott Simpson, GSP best martial artist, Jones best cage fighter. I agree with that. Great way to put it, Scott. Jesse Lee, my man, losing weight consistently down to weight for Thursday. I was terrified of weight cuts because I never wrestled growing up, but you don't need to cut any water. Just eat healthy, delicious food. Jesse is following our 3 weeks to shredded program at thedolcediet.com. If you want to lose weight, if you want to cut weight, if you want to drop 20 pounds in 3 weeks, go to thedolcediet.com and learn how the pro fighters do it. Also, any suggested messages for MMA athlete and time frame before the fight? Brother, now is fun time. Now you get to go and do what you've been training to do. You get to go out there and have fun. The fighting is the easiest part. Why is it? Because it's only 15 minutes with one person. The hard part is 2-hour practices with 5, 10, 20 athletes in the room, all trying to take your head off and kill you after all the work and all the stuff that you have to do in your day just to get to practice. The fight day, you have like a whole week, a couple days at least to just relax, kick back, and get ready for 15 minutes. It's only 15 minutes maximum against one person. You are so well trained. You are so well prepared. You are sharp because you've been active. Your weight is great. Your strength is great. Your conditioning is great. Literally, this person cannot do anything to you except get beat up. So go out there, have fun, be aggressive, be sharp, be smart, control the cage and get it done, my man. You're going to be amazing. Ebros, I would love to see John Jones fight Jan Blachowicz. I agree. Absolutely. I agree. Jesse, you got it, my brother. Yeah, I often overshare, ladies and gentlemen. That's one of my big things. I don't want to say I overshare, but it's because I care. I will take the time to give real context here. I will not just give some BS answer. What about the chalk on my hat, though? Bang, bang. Is that not worthy of a thumbs up, my friends? Give this video a thumbs up. Give this rant a thumbs up. John Jones versus Daniel Cormier, the newfound Twitter beef, has raised its ugly head. To recap for all the new people in here. What's up, everybody? You just signed on. We recap John Jones versus Daniel Cormier, the GOAT. Greatest of all time conversation. Daniel Cormier came out and said John Jones should not even be considered. He's excluded from the conversation because he got busted with some picograms of something in his system once upon a time. John Jones came back and said, DC, you have no place to stand. You actually quit. You retired from the sport after Stipe beat you twice in a row and you walked away with your tail between your legs. And then DC came back like, what are you talking about? Blah, blah, blah. And John came back and said, what are you talking about? It's a Twitter beef. It's like two high school kids fighting back and forth on Twitter, but these are grown-ass men, and they're two of the best at what they do, so it's kind of scary. But at the same time, this has now been about the GOAT. Who do we actually think is the GOAT of MMA? I have to say, I think it's John Jones. All the drug stuff aside, and why is that? Because you look at John's resume, most of the guys John fought were on drugs. Truly, right? Allegedly, I should say, most of the guys GSP fought were on drugs. There's a lot of stories, allegations about GSP being on drugs. My assumption, Everybody's on drugs. Was it Nate Diaz said it best? They're all on drugs, allegedly. So take that into consideration. Just because you're good at beating a drug test, well, that doesn't exactly mean you should leapfrog everyone else who might not be as good at it. But at the same time, how do I pick the GOAT? Say, all right, take that guy, put him in the octagon versus all the other GOATs. Who wins? Honestly, who wins? John Jones versus GSP. John wins. John Jones versus Khabib. John wins. John Jones versus who else? John wins. John wins. All right. So baddest man on the planet. That's John Jones. That's John Jones. Look at their records now. Look at their resume. This is where I hang my Carhartt hat on this point. John Jones must be considered the greatest of all time because the pedigree of athlete he defeated and also the way in which he defeated them. You have to look at that. John Jones destroyed world champions. Nobody had a tougher title reign than John Jones. Nobody did. Cannot be George St. Pierre. George fought BJ Penn twice, a blown-up lightweight. He fought Nick Diaz, Jake Shields, not to disrespect them, Josh Koscheck. He fought a lot of good fighters. But he did not fight the pedigree that John Jones did. That's all I'm saying. And this does not take anything away from George. Had George fought the level of fighters John fought, George might have beat all of them. He probably would have. But John did beat them. And I don't work with John. I got no horse in this race right now. I don't work with John. Right? It does nothing for me. This is just one dude. I mean, I got my credentials inside MMA, 4-time world MMA trainer of the year. Doing this since the late 90s, working inside NHB before it was even unified rules under MMA. So, I mean, I got a little bit of context here. Alexa, what do you think about don't have supper, only breakfast and dinner? I do not like this. I do not like this at all. I suggest eating 4 times per day. I suggest eating anywhere between 10 to 12 hours feeding and 12 to 14 hours of not eating. Ardeep says, I disagree, Mike. Jones will always have an asterisk next to his name due to pissing hot multiple times. If he never tested positive, there would be no arguments. GSP is the GOAT. I appreciate that. You can put the asterisk next to his name. That's fine. But at the same time, John Jones is still the GOAT. John won those fights because he popped hot for picograms. He never popped, and I'm not defending him. I'm just saying, what did he get in trouble for? Cocaine and picograms of some fucking substance that I've never even heard of. What is that? Not that it's not a powerful compound, but I know for a fact there's many athletes in the organization that have also tested for those picograms and they raised the threshold. I know that for a fact, and they're competing and not publicized by USADA. I know that for a fact. Right? There's other athletes that have tested positive for picograms of banned substances and did not get suspended, did not get publicized because the threshold level has changed. How's that all work out, by the way? I mean, whatever. So, all things being equal, I'm just telling you. Amardeep says your GOAT hides under octagons. DC never needed to do that. I don't care. That doesn't matter to me. Hiding under the octagon, that doesn't matter to me. Here's the thing, my friends. This is the way I gauge it. John Jones walks into your gym, he fucks everybody up. John Jones walks into any gym, he fucks everybody up. That's the GOAT. That's the GOAT. If the man walks into your gym and destroys everybody there, you're going to say, well, you have an asterisk next to your name. I don't know. It's a different perspective. It's a different perspective. Think about that, though. Does that not make sense? John walks into the gym, any gym in the world. He fucks everybody up. How do you not say the man is the GOAT? And I have no vested interest in this. That's the cool thing where I can sit here and say that. I'd love to be like, it's got to be George St. Pierre or, whomever else, Ronda or whatever, Great point about Jones. Opponents all on drugs. Yeah, except Brock. Of course. Brock's not on drugs. Mardeep and DC tested himself by going up to heavyweight. Jones has been teasing moving up for... No, DC is a heavyweight. DC hated going to 205. He hated it. And remember, to be fair, what about when DC allegedly cheated on the scale weighing in when he missed weight? What about that? Is that cheating? Did DC cheat? We all saw that Talgate, right? To be fair, I like DC. But to be fair, does he have an asterisk next to his name? He cheated. He broke the rules. He cheated. He illegally carried too much weight in the competition. We could say. Now, does that exclude DC from this conversation? It has to, if we're using the same principle here. Anthony Cruz, what's up, Anthony? Coach Mike, I'm not surprised. F.U. Dolce read on Anthony Smith and Santos were middleweights. Well, those guys were almost dead at middleweight. I know that for a fact. Those are real 205-pounders that almost killed themselves to make middleweight. So BJ was a 45-pounder who blew himself up because there was no 55. BJ would have been a 35-pounder if the UFC had a 35-pound class earlier in his career. Alexa, Khabib test 48 times with John Jones hide under octagon. I'm a fan of Khabib. I think Khabib is the GOAT lightweight, the greatest lightweight of all time. Khabib, if Khabib continued to compete maybe 4 more times, he needed a few more title defenses. Here's the thing. John Jones had how many title defenses? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 title defenses John Jones had? 15 title defenses. Come on, you got to be fair here. 15 title defense, 14 defenses after winning the title. Come on now. Think about that. Think about that. Now, this is where GSP is welcome into the conversation. But GSP had the title, then lost the title, and then came back to defend it again. 12 times. So John has the longest title defense reign in history, in UFC history. And that's got to be fair also. Anthony Cruz says, if DC got ripped, what weight class would he fight in? Middleweight, for sure. DC's not much taller than I am. DC would be a middleweight. Amar Deep says, if he was truly the baddest man on the planet, he would have taken that heavyweight strap a long time ago, but he wanted no part of Cain Velasquez in his prime. I don't think that's true. John Jones, I know John. I know those guys. John Jones was a skinny kid. He was a skinny kid in his early 20s. Cain Velasquez, are you crazy? Cain Velasquez hasn't fought in the UFC in a decade almost, right? When was the last time Cain fought? It's actually fun having, I wish I could show you my screen while I'm doing this. It would be funner, but we're working on that right now. My man John Trigg has got some helpful software coming our way. There we go. Let's see Cain Velasquez. Let's try and match these two up. All right, so 2010, Junior Dos Santos knocked out Cain Velasquez in 2011. In 2011, John Jones, he won the title in 2000. He won the title in 2011. What are you talking about? John literally won the title for the first time. And I was there cage side for this fight against Mauricio Shogun Hua, which was amazing. He won it in 2011. And then he defended it twice against Quentin Jackson and Lyoto Machida. That same year, Cain Velasquez had already been knocked out by Junior Dos Santos. Why would John Jones move up to fight a guy that just got knocked out and didn't hold the belt? That doesn't make sense. So Mardeep, man, you're swinging. L John beats a prime Cain. I think that's a tough fight. A prime Cain was a scary man. Let's give him his credit. Put some respect on that man's name. A prime Cain Velasquez, that was a scary dude. John Jones probably could have, but man, I would love to have seen that fight. Mighty Mouse at 6'4", 205 versus Jones. Who wins? Mighty Mouse at 6'4", 205 is a different athlete. He wouldn't be the same. Mighty Mouse is so good because he's so fast. Mighty Mouse, his proportions would not allow that. That, unfortunately, I love what you're saying, the theoretical. It would not work out, though. Because just think about Mighty Mouse, the way he moves, right? You can't move like that at that tall. Simply can't be done. But Mighty Mouse is awesome. Anthony Cruz. Coach, did you ever try to get fat ass Roy Nelson on the Dolce Diet? No. Roy Nelson wasted my time one time, bent my ear for about 2 hours. He and his wife, about 2 hours, just picking my brain, nutrition. Asked me so many dang questions. So many questions. And then teased a drop to 205. And then went and talked smack about me. Right? I actually sat there for free and gave this dude like a 2-hour private. And I was like, I was late for where I canceled like a meeting I had to go to. This was during like a fight week. I really was super, look at me. I'm hanging out with you guys. I'm 41 minutes deep into hanging out with you guys, my friends, by the way. I didn't know Roy, but I was super respectful. Who was I with? I think I was with Vitor Belfort. It was when Frank Mir beat Roy Nelson, and Roy was thinking about dropping at 205, right? So they sat there and just bent my ear. Oh, my God. And they were asking good questions. They were just stealing my information, though. They didn't want to pay me. They just wanted to steal as much information. And silly me, I gave it to them. Andy Q with the $5 super chat donation. Boom. I appreciate that, Andy Q. Sorry to jump straight in. We can't agree that John Jones's victories were possible because of PEDs. Andy Q with the $5 jump in. Bam. And a great point. We cannot agree that John Jones victories were possible because of PEDs. No, they were not possible because of PEDs. I do not believe that at all. John Jones, I think, would have been super successful with or without PEDs. We don't know if he took PEDs or what PEDs those actually were, just like we don't know what PEDs George St. Pierre may have taken or might not have taken, what PEDs whomever else, Michael Bisping or BJ Penn or anyone else. Let's just start throwing UFC champion names out there. Israel Adesanya with the gynecomastia. You don't get that from smoking weed, man. You don't get that from smoking weed, man. You don't grow gyno in a few months from smoking a little bit of pot, because nearly every one of you potheads out there hasn't grown gyno, right? It doesn't happen like that. You know that. So are we all saying that Izzy is on juice? Are we taking Izzy off the list altogether? Are we bashing Izzy? I just think we have to be fair here. Mardeep says, look up the articles with John definitely going up to heavyweight circa 2013. That's 2013, my man. You said 2011. Cain lost his title in 2011. So what are you saying? The point I'm making is that if he was the baddest man on the planet, he would have bumped up a long time ago. That's not true, because there wasn't room for him to do that, and the economics didn't make sense for him to do that. Also, John had tougher fights. Look at his fights, bro. Look at his fights. He had tougher fights at that level, at the light heavyweight level. The UFC heavyweight class has been garbage for a while. There's a few names that pop up, but who's a great UFC heavyweight? Who? I'm waiting. Honestly, it wouldn't have helped his legacy for sure, and it wouldn't have helped the pay-per-view buy rates. I know what John makes. Man, John makes fucking good money to fight these dudes. These guys help John make more money. So I disagree. Again, there's a bunch of reasons. I'm respectfully showing you why you're wrong. Now, it's nice when you have the microphone, because when you have the microphone, you're always right, which is a nice thing. So I'm correct. The only person who's correct is the one who actually has the microphone. New rule. Andy Q, again, thanks for the $5 donation. You're awesome. If Amanda Nunes fought Chris Cyborg again, who wins? I think Amanda Nunes wins. How do we say Amanda Nunes is not a better fighter than Chris Cyborg? It's almost 2021 and he still hasn't done it. Why would he, man? I don't get that. Why should he? Why would he? Why should he and why would he? GSP didn't fight Michael Bisping. GSP fought Michael Bisping not because Michael Bisping was the greatest middleweight of all time. If GSP was the GOAT, why didn't GSP move up and fight Anderson Silva when they were supposed to multiple times? Why didn't he move up and fight Chris Weidman? That's a bad matchup. He moved up to fight Michael Bisping because he knew he had a very good chance of beating Michael Bisping, who is not known to be the greatest middleweight of all time, like Anderson Silva was. Once again, I don't agree. I think you're really just reaching. Now you keep changing the conversation. You went from one point to another point to another point. You keep changing it. How good would Roy be at 205? Garbage. I think Roy would be garbage at 205. Roy Nelson is an athlete who totally underperformed his entire career, and he wasted his opportunity to be a higher caliber fighter because, in my opinion, he's a lazy guy and he had a terrible attitude and he was very unprofessional. And that's not just coming from me. That's coming from almost everyone inside the industry, right? He had his opportunity and unfortunately he wasted it away. Roy Jones could have been one of the great fighters. I believe he potentially could have been if he had a different mentality and a different work ethic. If he was a different person, maybe he had some really good skills, but he lost it all because of a poor attitude. Oh, you little potheads, right, Coach Mike? I know all you little potheads. You're running around. You're high right now. You're high right now. You don't have gyno. You didn't grow an A cup, right? What do you think is really behind Izzy's pec? Well, I don't know. I don't know. But the vast majority of data would clearly indicate some sort of hormonal imbalance, likely attributed to some sort of exogenous substance that is not marijuana. I've never come across, of all my buddies, and all the people I know and all the potheads I know. And remember, I lived in Nevada where it's legal to smoke weed all day, every day, legally, right? You see cops in the weed shop. No worries, no problem. Legal all day, every day. I never met one person, not one person. I lived in California too. Never met one person who got gyno smoking weed, ever. So take that for what it is. Definitely not a world-class athlete. Boss says, Coach, Bullet versus Amanda 3. Who you got? How crazy would a trilogy card be? Connor versus Nate. Was hoping Jones and Cormier, but one can dream. I like that trilogy card conversation. That'd be fun. I don't know. You know what? Valentina is awesome. Valentina Shevchenko, the Bullet. Boss is talking about versus Amanda Nunes 3. I think that's a great fight. I'd love to see that fight. That's a hard fight to pick. Now, Amanda Nunes is the bigger athlete, and you have to give her a +1 on that. Now, I think that's a tough one. It's a tough one. I could see. It's funny because the more times they fight, the greater the chances, I think, of Valentina picking up a win. Now, they had a very, very close fight, right? Years ago. Let's see if I can pull that up. Let's see. Bam, bam, bam. Here we go. And by the way, guys, I am now on Parler. If you have a Parler account, check me out on Parler. I do that not because I'm some sort of crazy right-wing, political person. I'm very apolitical. I don't get involved in any of that stuff. But I have also been shadow banned on Instagram for some odd reason. I'm losing. They keep shedding all my followers. They don't show my post to like 80% of my traffic anymore. So whatever's going on over there on Instagram, I'm a part now of the shadow ban. probably because I was opinionated on politicians not focusing on the health and fitness of the individuals, because I was an advocate of opening up the gyms and health centers. So they probably lumped me into some sort of right-wing conspiracy person. But I am now on Parler. So go to the Dolce Diet on Parler and make sure you follow us there as we continue to grow that platform. I'll still be everywhere also, but I'll probably speak more openly on some of those topics that are banned on other outlets with regards to health and fitness. It won't be politics. I never do the politics stuff. I just speak about health issues, and the health issues, and I attack both political sides, to be true. I don't trust any politician. Where was the Shevchenko fight? Decision. That was a close one. Yeah, so they fought twice, super close fights. Now Kat Zingano did beat Amanda Nunes back in 2014, so that kind of hurts her possibility to be on that GOAT list. Amar Deep says, you never read my comment, Uncle Mike. Sorry. By your logic, who walks into the gym is the baddest? Mediocre light heavyweight. Heavyweights are better than GSP. Well, who's the baddest man on the planet? The baddest man on the planet is the one who wins the fights, right? And then if we're not saying the person who wins head to toe or head to head, then we then have to look at, well, let's look at their records. Look at the quality of the opposition and the way that they won the fights. Again, John Jones wins both of those. He wins both those categories. Coach Mike, Valentina beats Amanda out of 4 times, hands down. 3 out of 4 times. We'll see, man. I'm down. I like Valentina. I think that's a badass fight. Who do you have? Roy Jones versus Tyson. Man, I don't like this fight. I don't want to see 2 54-year-olds punch each other in the head. I think it's stupid. It's disrespectful, I believe. Honestly, we're going to see one of these old dudes get brain damage. They're both well older than I am. I'm not about to go get punched in the head. Stupid, man. I'm not a fan of it, because I understand. And anyone who's in the martial arts, who fights, who's fought before, who's been punched in the face, punched in the head, who's spent time in the hospital healing up after a fight, do you honestly want to see your granddad get into a fist fight with someone who can really throw a punch? Here's the problem. Roy and Mike can still throw punches. They can still throw punches. Problem is, they can't take them anymore. And it's going to be fucking ugly. It's going to be ugly. One of them is going to get hurt bad. I don't even think it matters who. Anthony Cruz, shadow banned for wanting gyms to open. Man, these lefties have no shame. Anthony Cruz, I know, man. It's disheartening. It's disheartening, right? You go look. If you look at my Instagram page, show me one thing I've said that's political. Nothing. I don't know how anyone could even infer any sort of political bias. All I talk about is health and fitness and family and all that fun stuff, right? So it's BS. But definitely, guys, Parler, check me out on Parler at, let me see if any of you follow me right now. Let me look at this. Anybody jump over? Let me see here. While we're all sitting here hanging out, we can hang out for a little bit. I'm waiting for the phone call from wifey from at Brandy Dolce 1 to tell me it's dinner time. Doop. All right. So who's my man? All right, I got Mr. UFC, former UFC world champion Pat Miletich. Coach Pat is following me now on Parler. Good to see you, Coach Pat. The MMA community, and also Michael Gallipini is following me. So if you do follow me on Parler, I'll actually give you a shout out. If you want me to, I'll shout you out in the next video. So make sure at Parler, if you don't have the Parler app, check it out and make sure you give me a follow on there. Shadow band, Nick L, about to crush a day of pool. Listen up on my way home. Nick L, my man, brother. Pumped up. How's it going to go, man? How's it going to go? What's the goal for the day? What's that top end set? What are you going to do, man? Crush it. Crush that PR. Crush that PR. I can't wait. Red Army, they want to do it. They are warriors, all they know and what they love. We will see how it's going to happen. I imagine they are not thinking of the consequences. Red Army, I know, man. I agree. I mean, who doesn't want to see Roy Jones Jr. fight Mike Tyson? Of course. The fan in me wants to see it, but the man in me? No, man. I've sat in that locker room with too many athletes after they've been hurt in competition, right? I've sat in that ambulance and I've sat in that fucking hospital watching doctors stitch my friends, my buddies up. I've been there. I've sat there and I've watched the neurologist deliver the bad news to the wife of the athlete. You know what I mean, it's not all the guts and the glory it sounds like. I know Mike and Roy, they've been there before and all this. Man, it's a bad proposition. I think it's a bad proposition. But actually, I think maybe on Friday I'll do a video about it. Maybe that'll be a fun thing to do. I'd be the only one, the only one in the combat media sphere to actually say it's a bad idea. I haven't seen anyone say it's a bad idea. Anthony, exactly. We kind of know where you stand. I appreciate politics out of your posts since all of the IG is full of it. Exactly. Yeah, I mean, you guys know where I stand. I'm a moderate, right? I guess, right? I'm kind of in the middle of a lot of things. It's that meme is I want my gay neighbors to protect their pot plants with their semi-automatic rifles legally, right? So the gay married couple that lives next door to me, I want them to grow their own pot plants legally and protect them with their semi-automatic assault rifles while paying very minimal taxes. I would love that. Would be the beautiful, perfect world for me. So how am I defined now, politically speaking? I don't think I fit. And that's all of you here too. I don't know any of you who would disagree with that. Leave a comment if you disagree with something like that. Do you disagree with any of that? Let me know. Anthony Cruz, what kind of tortilla do you use for your breakfast burrito? It's a quinoa tortilla. We get it at the Whole Foods here in New Jersey. I keep forgetting we actually ate them all. They were delicious. So I'll take a look next time I go. I'll take a screenshot of the one that we use. Red Army just lost 10 pounds this month following your stuff. F you, coach. Big clap, big clap, big clap. Hell yeah, hell yeah. 10 pounds down. That's what we're talking about. Coach Mike, agree. Hell yeah, Coach Mike. That's all we want. Man, live and let live. Everybody, love, baby. Love, baby. Leave us alone, stupid government. It's so funny. How about this? Let's get slightly political for a second. All these idiots talking about government, healthcare, right? The government's going to run the healthcare. Think about this. Do you think the government should run healthcare? Look at the election. Look at the election. Go to the post office. Where's your mail? Where's your ballot? Go to the DMV. You want that same government to now run your cancer treatment? Are you fucking crazy? Are you smoking crack, man? What are you, nuts? You want the same government that's running the election, that's running the DMV, that's running the post office to run your cancer treatment, your heart treatment, to evaluate and diagnose your medical illness, to deliver your baby? Are you crazy? That same government? Are you nuts? Like, doesn't anybody see that? It's such bullshit. It's such bullshit. Now, should there be tax incentives for private citizens to get reductions? Should the government step in, and should they offer oversight to the private sector and force standardized price structures, standardized fees, or full disclosure of fees before you walk into the hospital? How come if I walk into a restaurant, they give me a menu with the price of the steak, so I know if I should order the hamburger or the filet mignon? But when I walk into a hospital, I don't get any sort of price list. I don't even know what they're doing. And all of a sudden, I got a $4,700 bill. They didn't give me a single pill or a single injection. How are they charging me $4,700 for what? What just happened here? Why doesn't the government focus on that side? See what I'm talking about? Georgie. Hey, Dolce. How should martial artists stagger training with heavy lifting days? Train both the same day, alternating days? Heavy lifting days should probably be every 5 days. Once every 5, I don't care about a 7-day week. Once every 5 days, if not once every 7, on the same day every week with a light touch up, like 3 days beforehand. You got to be careful because I always prioritize the skill training of a martial artist while making sure we're hitting a heavy lift. I don't want to lift less than 5 days. And I say more than 5 days. I don't want to go more than 5 days without a heavy lift, but I don't want to lift, infrequently also. Anthony Cruz, I agree, is work for the government. We are useless. I work for the government. We are useless at a lot of stuff. I used to work for the government and I left. So I worked in the public sector. Man, it's garbage. Literally, people just sit there and they wait for 4 o'clock to roll around. Why do anything? You can't get fired when you work for the government. Look at the ineptitude. I have stories. I'm not going to share them because I don't want to hurt people's feelings. What's your opinion on cryptocurrencies and the blockchain tech? I don't know enough about it, but there seems to be enough heat behind Bitcoin to consider Bitcoin as a hedge against inflation, maybe a hedge against the devaluation of the dollar. I would not suggest putting more than 10% of your disposable income into cryptos. If cryptos work the way that people say they will, then 10% of your disposable income invested into cryptos could make you a crypto millionaire 10 years from now. You'll be fine, right? And if cryptos go to shit, you'll be fine because you'll be well invested in traditional growth and value stocks and real estate. I'm a growth, more of a growth investor. I invest in companies that are, at the growth phase. I like companies like Tesla. I like Nano Dimensions. I'm not telling you to do this. I like Apple. I like Neo. Those are some that I like right now. Also, I like Etsy. I like Shopify. I like PayPal. I like Microsoft. I like some of the REITs that are out there, but I won't say those names because those are a lot more volatile. I'm not telling you to don't invest in anything I say. These are just some of the ones I like, but I really, really, really like. I love the Vanguard ETFs, like the VOO, the Vanguard S&P 500 Index Fund. That's the one I think is the best long term. If you're thinking 20 years down the road, that's the one that I think is the best. Boom Coil. Boom. I don't know anything about that. I don't follow that turd, man. I'm just waiting for the shoe to drop on that dude's face. Idiot. Georgie, thank you, coach. I appreciate you, Boom Coil, though. Georgie, you got it, man. Anthony Cruz, LOL. I'm teleworking right now. Right on. Max Holloway, Calvin Qatar main event just got announced. I heard about that. That's going to be a good one. I would normally say Max, but you never know. Calvin's a real deal, man. Shrivi, what is your definition of a PED? How does USADA actually define it? It's all bullshit. Put it this way. You cannot have a certain threshold of caffeine in your system if you're competing, but you can fly to Germany and spend $50,000 on stem cell treatment. And wasn't it Kobe Bryant who blew out his Achilles, went to Germany, got this stem cell treatment, and was back playing again 6 weeks later? If that were you or I, we're out for a year and probably never back again at the same level. Right? Alex Rodriguez, the same thing. Why is that? That's perfectly legal. PRP, perfectly legal. Why is that legal? Why is that legal? But I don't know, testosterone isn't. Why? I don't understand why that is. Why is stem cell treatment legal, but growth hormone isn't? Now, I'm not advocating for it, but growth hormone, what does that really do long term? I mean, it's helpful, right? But it's not fucking stem cell treatments. Stem cell treatment, growth hormone will do what? Let's say you blow out your Achilles and you take growth hormone to help the tissues regenerate. I don't know. Maybe it'll take 20% off your heal time. Instead of 6 months, it's probably like 6 months is not even close. Because Mirsad Bektik had an ACL tear, right? It took him almost a year and a half to come back, fully to come back and compete again. I don't know. So if we growth hormone, let's say, that'd say take 20% off that. He's back in a year. Let's be super aggressive. Stem cell, he would have been back in like 6-8 weeks. How is that legal? I don't get that. I'm like kind of, using a little loose, criteria here, because what they're doing now is fucking insane. I actually had a dude in Colombia. I had dinner with him when I was in Arizona a few weeks back, and the stuff he was telling me, I don't even, it's like a sci-fi movie what they're doing now. All legal. You can do that in the UFC, USADA pool. No problem. No problem. You're fine. No problem. Come on right back and compete. But you have a little bit of testosterone in your system. You're flagged. That I don't understand that. It doesn't make sense. Like ban it all or ban none of it. Red Army, how does alcohol affect your weight loss? I'd like a glass of grapefruit juice and vodka at night after working construction all day. I'm not a fan of alcohol at all, honestly. Yeah, that's where I'm not a fan of it at all. I don't want to encourage it. I don't want to support it. I understand people will drink a little alcohol, but I can't put my seal of approval because I know the long-term negative health outcome. There is short-term benefit, but man, go have some consensual intercourse if possible. If you're looking for that kind of that stress release, that dopamine hit, and I don't say that to be crass or whatnot, but if you have a loving partner in a great relationship, if you can have consensual relations with someone, man, go upstairs and spend an hour having some fun. You don't need to be poisoning yourself. You can actually have a really positive stress relieving dopamine effect of that type of interpersonal relationship. I know it's kind of a weird little analogy, but it's accurate. What's your opinion on water diets? I think that's silly. Anthony Cruz, you forgot to mention TRT Vitor in the GOAT discussion. I know. Yeah, Vitor's awesome. But yeah, he's not in the GOAT conversation. He's a legend though. LOL, I got you. You know what I'm saying about that. Just wondering how it affects weight loss. Well, water diet, I mean, yeah, you'll lose weight, but you're going to lose the wrong weight, man. If you go on a water diet and try and go for a run, you're going to fucking pass out. You go on a water diet, you try and stand up off the toilet too fast, you're going to pass out. So what's the point of it? Srivi says, do you coach athletes who are on ADD-based stimulants? What's your experience like with them? Yes, we do. We work with all humans, and everyone's different. And as long as it's regulated by their doctor, they're sticking to the doses that are mandated. We always work with individuals, and we always say, speak with your doctor and ask your doctor how, if possible, how can you create a criteria to slowly reduce your total dosage and possibly come off one day? That's our suggestion here. And our team of registered dietitians can liaise with the medical teams and oftentimes find a way to build a lifestyle and a series of habits to get off some of these medications. Many of these medications, they treat one issue, but they create 3 other issues. And if you just look at the fact panel, you will see that. Zad says, thank you for the information, sir. Really appreciate it. You got it. Red R, never knew one that didn't abuse it. Right on, my friend. Will A, when is that Dolce weight coming? Very soon. COVID slowed things down in the manufacturing. That's been a problem. And we are certainly compassionate to that and trying to be as friendly and professional and patient as possible. It'll be here very, 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 very soon. Hopefully I have something to tell you guys by Black Friday. GB, yo, Mike, I'm making a garden egg scramble as we speak. Boom, my man. That's what's up. All right, guys, I think this is the end of the road. An hour and 8 minutes. Bang, bang, bang. Give this video a thumbs up if you're here right now and you haven't yet. That's all I ask. If you just throw me a little some thumbs up, guys and gals, subscribe to the channel. If you haven't subscribed yet, click that little bell for notifications. That isn't a gimmick. You will be notified when I go live with this. I think this was a fun time, and we got to hang out for a while and chit chat and shoot all the, have all these questions. Brian Henley, what's up, my friend? Hey, Mike, is MCT oil on the Dolce diet? No, Brian, it's not. Why is it not? Because we actually go straight to coconut oil, which is the main provider of MCTs, medium chain triglycerides. We would prefer to get our MCTs from coconut oil, the actual earth-grown source, than some sort of processed version, which there's some good ones out, decent ones, not good. None are better than coconut oil. So that's why we have a few tablespoons of coconut oil spread throughout our Living Lean in 3 Weeks to Shredded programs. Good to see you, Brian. Anthony Cruz, Coach, when are you going to collaborate with other channels? That's a great question. Who would you like me to collaborate with? Leave that in the comments below, not in the chat. Leave it in the comments below. Everyone here right now, I'm going to end this video right now. Thank you all for being here. Who should we collaborate? Leave that in the comments below. I would love to hear, even if it's like definitely or maybe or be like super weird. Who should it be and tell me why? I would love to do that. I would love to do that. GB, how long after fasted list should I wait to eat immediately? Red Army, FU2, Wayne Ryan, boom, boom. All right, guys and gals, thank you all. Thank you for being here. Don't leave it in the chat, though. Leave it in the comments. I'm going to end this video right now. Thank you for being here, guys and gals. Until next time, boom.